Okay, now we're live. All right.
Checkers and Pogo on the go.
Checkers and
myself. I just aged myself. You weren't around when Checkers and Pogo was around, were you?
I remember, vaguely remember it.
Well, your era would have been Professor Fun, I think.
I don't know. I really
Pow,
don't
pow,
know.
pow, 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 pow.
I don't know. I was really young, but I remember Checkers and Pogo.
Yeah.
So,
what I'm doing right now is I'm flatting a page from my Huakai book, and I don't even know if I'm going to keep the page, but I wanted to color it, so I'm coloring it.
See, that's the cool thing about being on colorist. It's like, even if you don't want to, like, I don't know, take it seriously, you can still color them and still be on solid piece. As an artist, as a penciler, inker, I'm like, do I really want to draw this? And if it's no, it's like no all the way. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, in this case, it's something I've done. I did a long time ago, and I'm like, do I want to do this page or do I want to do something different and start over again? It's because it's, I'm sorry, artists are never satisfied with what they did.
Right.
So, am I going to be satisfied with? No. And am I going to want to redraw it? Yes. But the real question is, will I?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I am laying out one more page for Exilian issue 6, which I'm trying to get done before Maui, or at least enough pages for make on sequence so we can put something in the preview book.
Yeah.
And have something new on the table.
Yeah.
Keep thinking about that one kid that came the last time and I had nothing new. He already had everything I had.
Dude. What's up? What's up with that?
What's up with that?
Nothing new.
Yeah, I know.
Party fail.
Yeah, true story. But I had a lot going on, like life-wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the real life, when those things happen, it's like, like last minute I was able to go.
Consider that the first time I announced a brand new book was in 2017 at Maui Comic Con, and it's been 16, I should say, and it's been I don't know, 8 years since then. I haven't done any of it. Yeah, I know how it can kick you in the nads, and then you gotta recover. Trust me.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, my elbow hurts. My elbow.
You need to dig into your ear. I mean, come on.
My elbow hurts.
So when you're drawing, do you rest your elbow on something, or is it lifted up?
I rest them on my desk.
Okay,
but it's squeezing a pen so that.
Yeah, one of the things that really works for me is the fact that I have these. Here, I'm gonna lift up the camera. So you have these big arm rests, and they're right at arm level, so I can put my elbows on it, and it helps me to keep good posture.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I don't like hunch over too much or lean back too much, and my hands are here, and they're right now. My hands are up like this, but my elbows are still on those armrests.
Oh.
So I can keeps me from overexerting myself when I'm doing that. So
I gotta learn how to play with these layouts. What is that?
Okay.
Oh, that's that. That's that.
I totally just put down my stylus and I know where to put it.
Oh, that works. Yeah, that works.
The monkey spit. Where did my stylus go? I literally had it in my hands just now. There. No, that's not it. Oh, okay, this is starting to get annoying.
Hey, who's that?
I don't know. Somebody logging in.
Cool. Samika. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
boy.
right. All right. Samika.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up,
What's
dog?
up? Hanging up.
You're the man now, dog.
All right.
How can
All
I
right.
be the man when you're the man?
You're the man now. That was my Sean Connery impersonation.
Were you watching The Rock just like we were today?
No,
I
what
love that
was
movie.
We were watching The Rock today in the house here. Holy crap, DJ! I totally just lost my stylus, and it was right here in my hands.
that?
What? How can you do that?
Okay, hold on. How can I do that? Well, let's rewind the camera. Hot patootie. Not in my pocket. You know, of course, what I did is I put it down somewhere so that I wouldn't lose it. There it is. Found it.
There it is.
It's on the ground behind me.
You found anything?
Camera. Okay.
All right. So, what are we talking about today? Influencers. Influences.
Influences. Alika,
Yeah,
what were your influences when you decided to start your business? I'm kidding, that's a joke.
my influences were, I always say the two same ones, so it's so boring, but Chuck Rosansky, from Mile High Comics,
Okay?
and of course my mentor Bruce Ellsworth, who he's actually my number one inspiration from opening the store and just being a comics retailer and in this business. Because honestly, when I was a kid, I did not like anybody who sold comics. I thought they were all jerks. And
And the answer is that they probably were.
yeah,
I remember.
they were ripping people off, and it was the 90s. You know, everybody's ripping each other off, and it's little kids. And I was one of those kids.
I wish my experience was the 90s. No, mine was the freaking 80s. And
but
the
in
biggest
90s,
comic store in town was Comics Hawaii, but it was also a distributor. So
yep.
they had the only game in town and they didn't really care what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, well, but then comes the 90s when it's all about speculation and everybody's just ripping each other off. Doesn't matter if you're a kid or an adult.
Right.
So I got screwed out of so many good comics when I was a kid, and I just didn't even know any better.
Oh yeah.
And then so I met my mentor when I'm in my late 20s. I just had my son, and I met my mentor, and I was just going to get rid of my last long box of comics. So I was
Really?
like, he had an ad in Craigslist. I went and sat with him, and he looked at my collection. He's like, you could tell I really enjoyed the comics. He was like, because it wasn't just like one thing or whatever. And he kind of educated me, and actually I ended up not selling my comics to him. I decided to keep them and what I learned in that moment is that you could be into comics and be a buyer and seller and collector and not be a jerk about it.
Yeah. I wish I had a good store over here. Like growing up. You know
Wait. Time out. You wish you had a good store over there now or when you were a kid?
He said
when I was a kid,
they didn't have.
Yeah.
Well, we had good stores, but they weren't like educated on the comics and the artists and the writers, and so
they
my
were just
favorite
retail.
store, yeah, they were retail. They were nice. Like the ladies were nice, but they weren't like you couldn't talk to them about the comics. They wouldn't know. They would be like, "Yeah, you just buy the comic." I don't know. Like you know what I mean?
That's
But
But
really
when you talk to the people that love the comics and they read them, and they make you like buy them, and they make you like read them too, and then you get somebody to talk to about them, and then that's when
Yeah.
it becomes fun. It's like sports, you know what I mean? When you find new people to talk to about sports, and then life goes on. You come back together. You catch up. That's great.
Also goes to the notion like I think the comic industry is such a large animal. Like there's so many different parts to it that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying what you guys do is a small part of it. Like the creators is the reason for the season, right? That's why everybody.
It, right?
But it's a larger ecosystem. Like we do.
Absolutely.
You need curators. You need people who are gonna be good ambassadors, who are gonna bring people in.
Right. And I never had that experience until like I not on this island anyways. So when I went to like Oahu, like I love other realms because like I'll just talk to those guys for like a long time, and then just through talking stories, then they go, oh, if you like that, you might like this, and then then I end up buying books, and I not just buying books that you want to read because there's so much books outside right now that
if we're gonna be
talking the wrong book and reading the wrong book, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if we're talking about Oahu, you got to talk about Ted Mays because that guy. If you want to talk
Oh
about,
yeah, I love that guy. Yeah. Too bad he's not alive. Yeah.
That guy would like get into it with you. He wouldn't just be like passively. He would like tell you how he really feels and preach the gospel to you.
Right. I love that. I met that guy right before he died.
Oh,
yeah.
So I met that guy. What?
I didn't know Ted very well. All I thought of Ted was that he was kind of a comic store owner. That's all I knew. I never really had conversations with him, but I get it.
I could listen to that guy just talk. I could just shut up and be like, just start up the conversation so Ted can talk again. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
once you start talking with him, you got to have some on hand.
Well, I was so sad when I found out that he passed, but I'm so glad that he got applauded in a blaze of glory because he kind of did his thing. He lived his life, and he passed it, and COVID happened, or I forget how it works, but you know what I mean. Like he had a good life, good run, and then life happened the way however the reality happened. You know what I mean?
So it was all on his terms, which is a good thing. But it's like, if there was anybody on the comic scene who was like a veteran and who is still around, he was there in the before times, and he was also, kind of contemporary. So, that kind of knowledge is he helped. Okay, so you want to ask about another influence? I had my mentor Bruce Ellsworth. I had Chuck Rosansky, who had written a lot of blogs about it, but also Ted Mays. That guy, whenever I called him, he would pick up the phone. He never ignored my call. He always had time, and he knew that I was asking about opening a store. And I was like, I spent like 3 hours at a time on the phone with this guy, and I'd be like, okay, so how do I open my Diamond account? How do I do this? And a lot of what he told me has helped save me a lot of time.
Awesome. See, I miss that. I miss just, you just talk to the old guard, and then they kind of just give you the wisdom, and you just kind of walk in at whatever advice to give you, and you know what I mean. You're not doing the work from scratch. Like they already did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm fortunate. I had a lot of good. I had research. I was lucky.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about inspiration, because like if you want to talk about art and comics wise, which is what you guys were definitely into, like I like it weird, man. I like it when something is just exceptional or extraordinary, just oddball. I don't like the same old shit,
Oh.
Explain that a little bit for us.
Trying to think, because like when I was a little kid, it was like the weirdest. We lived in the 80s.
Right. Like Mad Magazine kind of thing, or like goofier than that?
Yeah, well, I love Mad.
Cerebus?
I didn't know, see, because that's before my time. I wished.
Yeah.
I wish that. So the 90s underground was my time when I was like, a preteen / teenager. That's like the 90s underground, which is like Madman and The Tick and all that stuff. I wish I was around for like Cerebus and Ninja Turtles and whatnot. But, just like I'm trying to pull names out of here that have really caught me. and you know, a lot. I mean, a lot of it is actually literature. I like Murakami and Vonnegut. They're very. If you've ever read any of their books, it's almost like the perfect kind of prose novel for someone who likes comics. If you guys ever have you read any?
I have not.
I think you would dig it, man, because it's like you can see why so many people try to adapt Vonnegut into, like, people are, putting these graphic novels, or there's been some movies of his work, but I think his writing is way ahead of, like, the expressiveness of a lot of visual mediums, where
Mm.
where you reading it, you're getting like this crazy visual that nobody has really caught up to yet. It's I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Oh,
When it comes to let's switch gears a little bit, DJ. What about
okay.
when it comes to art? What is your big
So
influence?
one huge one for me is Joe Mad. Like,
Yeah.
Of course it is.
like, just I mean, and I know people hate the Joe Mad knockoffs. Like, you know what I mean? I know it, and I cannot stop myself from that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. That's just, I don't know. My brain just kind of wired that way. I wish I wasn't, because I know people that just like me do different stuff, but I just don't enjoy it as much. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And but yeah, so Joe Mad was huge on me because he's anime kind of manga style fused with American comics, and I guess it was the timing when he when he hit was like pivotal for me. And then I think he was only a couple years older than me, so I was thinking, oh, if he can make them, I can make them. And boy,
Yeah.
how that goes, right? You know what I mean? So, anyways,
Yeah,
yeah,
since I'm a 25-year overnight sensation, so
right, exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of like the business of comics is they sell you this dream that you could possibly do them, and they just suck like just tons of people in. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at the comics industry, it's like mostly it's all fans that want to do them. You know what I mean? But then you get the ones like Alika that is like the true gems, if you ask me, because like, they're not just trying to make money or trying to get something. They just love the medium. You know what I mean? So
Well, here's the other thing. I mean, a lot of things about the industry are harsh, but I think that nowadays there's more people. You have to love comics to be involved in it in any way, because
yeah,
because of the worst reason, because there's like no money in it, right? It's like, so
mhm,
now it's like, if anybody's left, it's, they for sure love this.
yeah.
right,
Last man standing.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's interesting. There was an article that somebody wrote an article and an interview, and it was Jeff Campbell, J. Scott Campbell, and in that article, he basically says, so you want to get into comics? Don't do it. You'll hate it. You'll you'll have long hours. You won't sleep. You won't have any social life. You eat ramen for days. Blah 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 blah. Oh, and if none of that dissuaded you from getting into comics, you're in it. Go for it. Like you
yeah,
would whether it's a whole laundry list of reasons why you should not get into comics, and if none of that dissuaded you from it, you're the man for it.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the way to do it,
Yep. Rip the band-aid off.
Yeah, give them the harsh reality, because it is a harsh reality. It's,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
you're not doing anybody any favors by lying to them.
Yep.
Romantic.
Yep.
What? It's not romantic to be a starving artist. What are you talking about? You
Yeah.
don't want to be a 35-year overnight sensation. What? You want to be the next big thing in 10 years?
But I'm just happy that the tides have kind of shifted. You know what I mean? Because before it was all about the corporations. It was all about, who do you belong to, what studio you belong to, what big outfit you belong to, all of that. And because freaking whatever happened within the past, I don't know, 10 years with the studios and all of that, everybody's like, frick this, let's just go and support goes straight to the artists, straight to the creators. You know what I mean? Which is
Yeah,
on
I
whole
think that was a result. I think we talked about it a little bit the last time we
right,
were on.
right,
So that was kind of the result of the changing paradigm of the creation of comics too. I mean,
right,
who cares about the big three or big two or big three
right.
anymore? It's, can you make a good book?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, if they come out with good stuff, I'll be right there for them. You know what I mean? And they do occasionally, but it's just we've been wronged by them too many times already. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know what's crazy is like people have discovered, and the industry is just so harsh that they could make more money doing it on their own. And when it comes to that point, it's like then the big two have lost their leverage completely. That people realize that if you've got the chops and if you got something that people like, you might
Right.
as well just invest in it and yourself and reap all the rewards. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Even for me, like I did the one Kickstarter, and it's like that was the one thing that was actually profitable. You know what I mean? Because you try every other route, and it's like, wow. I mean, yeah, you got to do all the work, but still, yeah, I made. I wasn't in the negative on that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even well, I did my first issue of my comic, which is already, I did most of that myself, and already made the money for for Call Everything Even. So I just needed the money for print, and the Kickstarter covered all of that, and the rest was profit. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yep.
okay, I can do that. I'm going to go back to doing that. It's just that it's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
get these out of the way.
That's the other thing is like, because my whole life, my whole thing, and I think it's just my generation's thing, is that we're sick of working for people in an office. So
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out where the sweet spot is, where we can be productive, we can create a good product, but trim the fat. Like, what do we need from that centralized business? What's the benefit? Which would be like they do the paperwork, they do the advertising, they do the selling, right? And so you're going to take that on. Are you going to be reaping a great enough reward to justify that? And I, it's something that takes decades to figure out. Like we're basically like guinea pigs for our kids. Our kids are going to benefit from us suffering and trying to figure out that sweet spot of where we finally, all of humanity gets to do what they are passionate about and what they actually should be doing with their life, as opposed to what they can be exploiting themselves to make money with on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like we're the whole world is shifting that way, and
Yeah.
we're just like we're a tiny step along that path.
Yeah. Yep. Well said. Well said.
So,
Yeah.
DJ, when you're bringing up Joe Mad, my favorite Joe Mad is like the toned down Joe Mad. I hope you're not mad at me for saying that, but
I don't know which one. Which
But
one?
for example, toned down in what way? I mean, which book, for example?
the Phalanx Covenant which was
Oh, I love that. I love that.
my first exposure. But compared to Age of Apocalypse, it's like tuned up a little bit. You know what I mean? He's like more, and he's willing to go a little crazier. When he was in Phalanx Covenant, he was like a little more anatomical.
Yeah.
But what I really liked, and I also really liked the colorist on that, who was doing the X-Men issues in that series. But
yeah, I couldn't.
Wonder who's doing that. Which series was this? The Extinction
Phalanx Covenant. It's
I love their run. Anytime the X-Men go to space, I love it. If they go to space and they have a good artist, I'm there. The writing can be okay, but if the art is there and they're going into space, I'm there.
And I hate to say it because the Phalanx Covenant was not. I don't think that was Claremont.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was Fabian, right? Wasn't it?
It either was him or Lobdell.
Oh yeah, Lobdell. Yeah.
I like that series. I honestly liked
it. Like there was stuff after Claremont that I enjoyed, and that's that run. You know what I mean? There's so his run was good. John Romita Jr. had an okay run in there. You know what I mean? Adam Kubert doing good run inside there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. Like, I'm not like X-Men is not really one good thing for really base in terms of like, and I hate to say story, but like the story's so all over the place with these with the X-Men that it's like, and it's comics, so you cannot really. And when you're young, you don't really know what is good story or not. Is as long as the art is good and it's comprehensible or whatever, that's good enough. You're getting your fix at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you could pretty much do whatever you want. Like if I bet if I went back and read them now, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? But at the time, I was like, oh my god, this is great because
Yeah.
30 days you're gonna get that fix, right? You'll get that hit of whatever it is, right? So
Yeah.
that's what it was back then. But
I mean, the reason I brought that one up is because what I really liked about Joe Mad, and it was something about it, like this is even when if you look back at my old sketchbooks, this is how I would draw. I love the way he did eyes.
oh yeah,
I love the
cool.
big white cartoony expressive eyes that he does.
Right.
That and it's kind of like the Tick too, right? Like how the Tick had his eyes.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the Tick is like hyper exaggerated, but the way Joe
Right.
Mad did, like there was like some humor in his eye expressions,
Yeah, he had this cartooniness to him that
Yeah.
I really dig. I still dig it, man. Yeah, Joe
That's
Madden.
Bucci. Steve Buscelato was the
The
colorist.
colorist.
Yeah, him and his brother is Brian. They're both colorists.
So
Uh-huh.
the reason he was so good, and I love that run so much, is because in the 80s, like instead of creating new characters, a lot of cartoons and stuff, what they would do is they just color swap things. Like in He-Man, the Faker character was just blue with orange hair, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Yeah.
there's just so much of that stuff. And so during the Phalanx Covenant, if one of the X-Men was taken over by the Phalanx organism,
Right.
they would become like a pastel version of themselves. And I love that. Like
Yeah.
there's a Garbage Pail Kid card called the one that's painting itself and the color palette on that. But the colors on that, I think it's Off Color Clara is the name of that Garbage Pail Kid. The colors on that Garbage Pail Kid card remind me of the pastel Phalanx X-Men. It's weird associations I make like as a kid, but
No. I get that. Totally get that. Like just one thing will trigger that, and I love Garbage Pail Kids. It's like
it's so good.
It's a sweet spot, man.
So you gentlemen, I'm going to jump in real quick. You guys, gentlemen, are seeing me at a spot where I am at a loss. So I'm having to go back and redo everything because I'm not liking the way things are turning out, which is frustrating me to all hell. My color schemes are all fucked up. Excuse my language, sorry.
It's just because we're talking about colors, we're messing you up, bro.
No. Before we got on the stream, I started thinking about, I said, what am I going to do on the stream? And I said, well, let's get this whole page out. Let's throw some color cues on it and then try to color it. But as I'm doing it, none of the colors are working the way I want to, and it's really annoying me the hell out right now. I'm really pissed about it.
So it's not our fault now. We didn't do it.
It's all your fault. I blame you.
Yeah, all
right. But it's just nothing's working. Like I even pulled up this. Oh, you don't see me on the stream anymore. Hold on. Let me see what
I don't know what happened to your thing.
Yeah, I don't know either. Basically, like moved it out. But anyway,
stage. There we go.
Wow, it's not showing my stuff. Why is it not showing my thing here? Hold on. Sorry. It's not showing any of my content. What? Did you see my content?
No. It's just a big gray thing. Let me try move them off.
Let me try to do something again here. No, it's probably me. Stop screen, present, Share screen. Entire screen window.
Oh, Amy's on. What is this? I don't know what this is. We got a comment from someplace. Oh, Facebook.
You gotta, yeah, you're on Facebook. You're live on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Okay. So I even went to and grabbed a photo to look at to try to get the colors right, but none of the colors in this photo are working the way I wanted to either.
Hmm.
So it's a little frustrating. I'm a little frustrated right now, and it's bothering me. So I'm going to stop, put this away, and do something else.
There you go.
Because I can. Because I can.
That's good timing.
I cannot.
Timing?
I cannot. Like, if I'm in the middle of one piece, I cannot just be like, "Oh, I'm done." I gotta, like, I grab another piece. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear
shit,
you.
I gotta work this out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta work these problems out. Like, you know what I mean? Because if I don't draw them, that holds up everything, right? Like, you know what I mean? Now, can I ink them? The colorist can't get them. It's not gonna get printed. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
If only you knew a colorist, and he's not waiting for anything. Maybe I'll do an ink. Prep myself for another. So, my friend contacted me today and reminded me that we were going to work on a project together. So, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, but nothing yet. At some point there will be.
Yeah. Let's try to see. Oh.
This will be fine.
Yeah.
Oops! Don't look at all my pictures. Don't look at all my pictures. Don't look at all my pictures. Oops! Oh, look at that. That's kind of cool.
Sorry, my bad. I'm just trying to get them. Yeah. So you can see what I'm doing. Oh yeah.
But then it's here somewhere. Figure might as well practice some inking over some artists.
So, Kanila,
Yo.
for you, who is an inspiration as for
okay?
art? Let's hear an art inspiration.
So my degree for college is in art history. So I spent a whole lot of hours looking at good art, staring at it for hours, memorizing parts of it, understanding the stories behind it. So some of my artistic background comes from what you would consider traditional art, painting and sculpture and printmaking and those kinds of things. But it was comics that got me into all of that. I think my very first comic book was a Thor comic book. I couldn't even tell you what issue it was. But the first comic artists that I followed regularly because I was enthralled by their art were John
Let me guess.
Romita.
Oh, never mind.
Was not Jim Lee. Was John Romita Jr. on X-Men in his early run, his first run, and Walter Simonson in his run on Thor, which I still think to this day is probably one of the best comic runs by an artist writer ever. The closest one behind him. Huh?
I want to get the run, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or as much as I can, within reason, without breaking the bank. You know what I mean?
Hey, I saw a guy at the Hawaii Toy Expo about 5 years ago selling the entire Walt Simonson Thor run for $120.
What? I'll buy that. I don't know if I'd
I
read them
almost
all.
did. I almost bought it. I didn't have it, but I almost bought it.
Hi, Amy.
And there's no guarantee that the quality was good on all of the issues, right? But the fact that you could read all of them at once, oh yeah, that's dope.
I guess we lost Alika.
Oh no, I'm sure he'll be back once his phone
Yeah.
charges up. Boom, boom.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Alika. All right. Now, let's see. Move this way, right?
But yeah, so another influence, of course, is Jim Lee. I was in Jim Lee clone before I was in Joe Mad clone.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's just a no-brainer.
Right.
He was a true trendsetter, the same kind of way that Todd was.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I was never a huge Todd fan, honestly.
Me too. I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't like. Some people will swear by him, and it's like he was good, but he wasn't one of my like. I like Spawn. I like his Spider-Man, but I liked Jim Lee stuff better. I like he was of all the Image guys, he was lower on the because the lowest to me was Jim Valentino. You know what I mean?
And of course, Valentino was the one I worked with the most.
Oh yeah, I got denied my I got denied twice by him. Image proposals, but I was like,
Yeah.
at the time I was mad, but now when I look back and I look at him, I was like, yeah, he's right.
You weren't ready at the time?
I was close, but I wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I know. I get it.
it wasn't like I'm kind of glad I never made them because then I'll be stuck drawing that comic. Like, you know what I mean? And it was good.
Yeah, you get it.
It was like some, especially as the artists, we get this weird. I don't know what it is. Creative bursts. You know what I mean? So
Artists in general?
well, for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but I get these weird creative bursts where I just feel like I can do everything, and I cannot. Just time and reality and life just not gonna let me do them. But I always bite off way more than I can chew. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hear you.
Like even right now, I'm trying to get yours and mine done before Maui, and Maui's in like 1 month. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
know.
It's not gonna happen, but I'm still trying. You know what I mean? I'm still trying. I'm not going to fight.
And I appreciate that you're trying.
Yeah. Oh, Alika said he missed your inspiration.
Well, you ran away.
Yeah, well, he's back now. Oh, he's in the back. Sorry. Hey, my bad.
My inspiration with regard when you say John Romita Jr. and Walter Simonson were my two big inspirations.
Yeah. What run from John Romita Jr.?
It was the X-Men run from 170 something or other. I can't remember. It was, but I didn't start reading into like 186, 187.
I like John Romita Jr., but I don't think he's good on the X. He's good on the X-Men. He's decent, but I like his Daredevil or Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
You know what's
like the older stuff.
Is you're talking about?
I'm gonna say go for it.
You're talking about where you jumped on the X-Men, but that's right around the time of the Barry Windsor Smith issues, and you didn't even mention, like you're like,
No, no, Barry Smith issues never really inspired me.
wow,
I didn't care who he was. I mean, to this day, I thought he's a great artist, and
Right.
but I never found his Conan as inspiring as other people did to me. Because I've seen so much good Conan. You know, like to me, the Conan artist is what's his name? Usama.
Usama, yeah.
He's Conan to me.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
right after him is that Filipino guy. I forget his name.
Not Ernie Chan. Eh?
oh,
Ernie Chan, right? Ernie Chan. He is the next one for me because
I know what you're
looks like
talking about too. The other one though. Yeah,
You know
all
what?
Filipino.
The Simonson thing is,
Yeah.
when I used to look at Simonson, I used to see like I wouldn't look at his flourishes and his styles. I would just think that's just like, you know, the edges or whatever. Kind of like how when Steve Lealoha does a drawing, you just like you see the fine lines or whatever, or however he handles the outlines of things. But then I heard, you know, Michel Fife, who has like a really distinctive oddball, just kind of style, still hero stuff. And he cited Simonson, and now I see like the oddity in Simonson, you know, like how not uniform he is, how weird he is, you know.
Yeah, I dig that about him.
But
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I dig that about him.
The thing that I've always liked about Simonson that other people, I don't know whether people agree with, is to him design comes before sizzle. The design of the design comes before any sizzle. Like
Yeah.
panel layout, his illustration design, his covers are all solid design. And it's harder for people who don't know design, they don't understand that, right? But
Right.
if you look at it, his use of space and color and line, it's all based on traditional design principles, and there's not a whole lot of artists that have done that necessarily, that were so blatant about it. I mean,
Right.
I colored an issue of Walter's pencil once on a book called Justice Society Unlimited, JSA Unlimited, I think. I can't remember the name of it. But it was a Hawkman and Adam Strange story. And normally I would color a page at that time, I'd color a page every couple hours, just when I wasn't rushing. When I was rushing, I could do a page in an hour. I finished these pages as I was coloring in 30 minutes each. And it pissed me the hell off because I finished with the entire book in less than 6 hours. I was like, I wanted to spend more time on it, and I couldn't because I finished it so fast.
That's cool though. I like how he's like real economic. Oh, Amy asked, who's your favorite X-Men artist? Here?
I heard you. I'm thinking. I don't know that I have a favorite X-Men artist. I can bang out a list of artists.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who you think is the most underrated X-Men artist?
underrated? I'll say,
Yeah.
and I'll say because to me, I underrate this person and I shouldn't, because actually he's probably on the top of my list. Is Paul Smith?
Oh yeah, I like him. Yeah.
Like I honestly, the older I'm getting, like I'm starting to look at the runs that I didn't get as a kid, and his stuff just pops out, man. It's like that.
Right.
It's from that era. It's like 80s. It's street grimy a little bit. It's pretty, you know. Yeah, I really dig his stuff.
Oh, cool. I think to me, I feel like I don't know how you see his name, Bachalo. Bachalo is underrated.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Bachalo, he's not underrated, man. Trust me.
I just feel like people don't talk about him enough. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just might be me because he came in during my blind spot, and I was trying to keep up with him, but I would have to like go travel someplace else to a different island and go hog whatever I could find, you know what I mean, and then come back, you know what I mean. Yeah, I always felt like he should have been more in the conversation, you know what I mean. But that's just
No,
me.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
He left X Men to do. Did he leave X Men to start on cliffhanger stuff?
His what
I
stuff?
think he did. Cliffhanger
Steve, was it
to
steampunk?
do his steampunk stuff. I think he left X Men to do that.
Ah, I wish I had all the issues of steampunk.
Well, I had access to every single issue. That was one time when I was working at Lost Arm. I am. But
No, did you come up with a favorite X-Men artist?
I don't necessarily. I don't know that I have a favorite. I mean, ones that I'm emotionally tied to would probably be Jim because of things that happened
Yeah,
in my
me
life.
too. I would have to say Jim. Even though Joe Matt is my favorite artist, my favorite X-Men artist, I gotta give him up to Jim Lee just because for me it's nostalgic. And the
for
run,
me,
is like
it's
you know,
it's the run out in outer space.
Yeah.
And then the Savage Land, and then just that whole that era right there.
right?
That was Jim Lee at his best out of X Men. I didn't
The
even honestly.
days.
I didn't even like the new X Men run that he did with the big 4-cover thing that he did.
Right,
The new X Men. I didn't even like that comic.
Oh,
I didn't
you're
like
breaking,
the way
you're
that was written.
heart, man. You're breaking my heart.
Well, I like the art to a degree.
You know what?
But I
You
think
know what's
that,
fun? You know what's the dividing line between me and you, which is
Uh-huh.
the dividing line between our age groups, is to you, Jim Lee's X-Men wear the blue and yellow uniforms, and
no,
no,
not mine. No, see, the blue and yellow uniforms was the cartoon that and the
No.
costumes that they got in the cartoon. That was what,
no, but
me.
But Jim Lee, but the beginning of Jim Lee's run, or not the beginning, but in about 10 issues in like the 270s or so, when they do the blue and yellow uniforms, a lot of people call those uniforms the Jim Lee uniforms. And to me, it's the adjectiveless X-Men. Those are Jim Lee's uniforms. That's his mark on the X-Men.
Right.
But I always see older people referencing the uniforms just before that, which was the blue and yellow ones in space.
I love that. I love that run right there. The space run.
I liked the run, but I didn't. The costumes were,
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't into the costume.
For me, my favorite run of X-Men was in the 200 to 220 range when they were still playing baseball at the mansion, when it was still technically school.
But you're talking about light stuff, but smack in the middle of that is also
the Mutant Massacre, right? Yeah.
Which is an incredible run and a pretty dark chapter.
Yeah.
But they were still playing baseball at the mansion in the 90s. Like Jim Lee drew, his thing was the poolside X-Men, right? They're like playing volleyball.
No, yeah, but he did the basketball issue with Gambit and like Wolverine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, which I thought was fun,
Yeah.
And then Joe Matt did the baseball one, you know what I mean? That was fun.
We did a softball game when I was working at Wildstorm, and Jim did a little advertisement sketch of a baseball player. It was really good years ago. This cover is going to kick my butt, but I think I'm going to like it when I'm done. I am inking right now the cover to Hardware #2 for fun because it's another Dennis piece, and I wanted to get some additional experience doing his stuff so you can understand how his lines work.
Just in case, huh? Just in case. That's good. Paul Smith is the bond. Amy. Oh, you know what? I should send Amy the link. Maybe she like hang out. I don't know if he's still around, but you know.
She would definitely be shouting more X-Men artist names for sure. Because
Yeah, she would probably. Yeah.
Well, I can give you all kinds of X-Men artist names. It's a matter of whether I like them or not.
I go through
Like
phases.
one of my
man.
favorite.
Yeah.
One of my favorite single issues of X-Men was drawn by Rick Leonardi.
Which issue is that?
You know what? I want to find it because it was a standalone issue, and it had a guy with a wolf.
I got
All right, let's see. Well, first of all, there's that cover that he did of the Storm Colossus fight. That was awesome. I mean, the Storm Cyclops fight. One of my favorite covers, actually.
Oh yeah, that was a good run.
Okay, so 201, that's like iconic. 212, he did 212. Did he do the cover on 212?
No, that was Alan Davis.
Okay, I was gonna
That's
say.
What is that?
Saber-tooth Wolverine, right?
Which cover is it?
That's the Saber-tooth
Which
Wolverine,
cover?
right? As well.
That is one of my absolute favorite. Well, not 212. I think it's 213, where it's like they were in each other's face. Actually, that's one of my.
Yeah,
favorite
it's 213. That's Alan Davis
ones. Yeah.
and Paul Neary with inks.
But Rick Leonardi worked on 212. He did.
There it is. It's X-Men 228. It was right after the Fall of the Mutants.
X-Men 228.
Uncanny 228. And it's a Dazzler Wolverine's kind of side story. But
That's it.
for me.
Yeah. Honestly, the cover is not one of the ones that caught my mind, because it's like the stone statue. It's kind of static and
Right.
not exciting. But I hadn't read that book before. It's like smack in the middle of the Silvestri run.
Right,
Which-
it is.
And that's the other thing is maybe Silvestri. I should have said Silvestri is maybe my favorite X-Men artist because when I discovered, because I was such a Jim Lee guy.
Yeah.
Back at the Silvestri covers, and I was just like, holy crap, like Silvestri made that stuff real.
Yeah.
I like that Silvestri, and it was probably Dan Green that did it.
Yeah.
Not Silvestri, but there was a simplicity. Not simplicity. It was an economy of
Commercial.
lines.
Yeah, exactly. Economy.
The
Yeah.
economy of lines I like.
Right.
Let's see.
Oh, I dig this, man. I didn't know that was Leonardi. The cover to 231.
Which one was that?
I don't know. I like the way he's making Colossus look like he's just beating
That
the random.
Colossus and Sim thing, right?
Yeah. And it looks like magic's underneath him. Like the
Yeah.
new mutant tile underneath. Why are the New Mutants there? That's weird.
I think because they were fighting in hell and Ileana was there.
I dig that Colossus. That is a nice Colossus.
It is. It was always a favorite cover of mine too.
Nice.
But I mean, come on, Cloak and Dagger, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeez. Like, how could you forget about Cloak and Dagger? It's so good. And like
Yeah. And guess what's coming with me? Guess what's coming with me to Maui? All for it.
The hatching on the cape is just genius for the text, like to make that texture work.
Yeah.
Good.
Dan Green is so underrated. He should have gotten more recognition. Yeah, that's true. Hey, my nephew Jeffrey. I'll be on to keep doing your thing. God bless you. Yes, sir. Hey, my nephew. Wow, I never knew you could see this stuff. Right on. Right on, my nephew. Right on. Dan Green's been cool recently, yeah?
Amy is posting, but not in the feed. Why not?
Is she coming?
Yeah.
Amy, I sent you the link if you like hang out.
Should be in your messenger.
Oh, Dan Green. Wow, Dan Green passed in August.
Yeah, that's what I thought, man.
Wow. Oh my word.
Oh, and Dennis is looking forward to seeing our preview book, DJ.
Oh,
So-
sweet.
No pressure.
No pressure.
You gonna get the 7 pages, bro. Because I got a stuff. You got a good preview on that already. I'm strapped. I'm strapped for time.
What I'm trying to think what non X-Men book while you were an X kid like kind of drew your eye away, DJ?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like Hulk from Del Keown. Anything Del Keown was doing, Hulk.
Keown, yeah.
Spider-Man. I even like when Eric Larson was doing Spider-Man. I like his little short run better than Todd McFarlane. I don't know why. I mean, everybody swear by Todd's stuff, but I look at Eric's work and I'm like, yup, that's.
So when you guys were talking about that, I tend to agree. As a kid, I was way more on the Eric Larson side than I was the McFarlane side. But
Hey.
I have a great appreciation for Todd's work now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
More so after Spawn, like when
Yeah.
he was when he was doing Hulk and Spider-Man and things, like he kind of made the Hulk a little grotesque. You know, like he gave him the texture. I wasn't into the texture that he was giving him.
Yeah, his head was like, I don't know, it was real weird. I kind of dig that he kind of went stretch up like he went play with the Hulk, and then everybody after that kind of went just go off in one different direction.
Yeah,
You know, but yeah, but Del Keown's bro, his Hulk run is crazy good.
yeah, it's great.
What else? I'm trying to remember. I did New Warriors did a while.
Warriors, yeah.
Warriors. I'm trying to think back because back then I was a kid, right? So I only had so much money, so I'd have to be like, I can't afford this, so I can't afford that.
So let me see. What did I spend my money on? Part of the difficulty is because for about a 3-year period in the 90s, I was working at a comic shop and I was getting everything for my boss's discount. So I bought everything, right? But before I got to that, I want to say in 90 and 91, the books I liked to collect were, I was going for the newer things. And I look back at it now, it wasn't the greatest book, but it was a very popular book at the time, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Jim Valentino run. Then the Javier Saltares run on Ghost Rider.
Well, those like Guardians of the Galaxy when I was a kid meant absolutely nothing to me. But
Yeah, I mean,
looking back on it, there actually is some like decent art and some interesting, stuff going on in there. I paid zero attention to any of it, but
Yeah, me too. There was this one time where I don't know if it was Guardians or where they had like Vance Astro and he had like Captain America's shield.
Yeah,
that was
the
that was
that
Guardian.
Was that Guardian?
That was Valentino.
Right. The Valentino stuff I actually did like.
So
It was
and that was also they went into the future and Wolverine skeleton was still around.
right, and wasn't his daughter or Wolverina like some? I don't know. I
Yeah,
forget.
Jim was having a lot of fun with that stuff at that time.
Yeah. But I remember that stuff. I remember Thunderstrike. I think it was the one.
Yeah, and that's a book I never got into.
Yeah, like so that book was made for me, like you know what I mean? Because it was like I wasn't gonna pick up Thor because he was too Goldilocks, like you know what I mean? I
Bro,
was like,
you wouldn't read Thor and Captain America, but you'd read Thunderstrike and Nomad.
right, exactly.
Wow.
Like it takes a while for you get hooked into the craft of it, and when you get hooked into the craft and you're sucked in, then it's like okay, let's just read whatever it is. But when you're a kid and you kind of I don't know, is this discrimination factor? You kind of like
Oh,
those
yeah.
are not cool, or just
Kids are way pickier. Like I was
Yeah.
so picky when I
I
was
was
a kid.
picky too. I had to be picky because I only had so much money. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm not reading that crap.
I feel like I was more toxic than a toxic fanboy when I was a kid. Like I
Oh,
straight up
guarantee we will.
everything, even if it was like the great art, I'd be like, that's boring. I don't like that. It's like,
Yeah, me too.
You know what I hated the most, Alika, when I was working at the comic shop? I hated the kids that would come in and say, hey, will this be worth money?
You know what? I was too because I was so poor. I was like, I hope I spend $1 on this thing and I get $100 later. I always had the price guides. I was like looking at the top price and the top condition. I'll be like, I got that book. It's worth $100.
I never thought like that. I was always like, I just never did think like that. I used to bend comics. I used to draw on them. I used to like.
Thing is, collectibles, I say it and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. It's always true. Collectibles are the poor man's stock market. It's the only way that like people who don't have a lot of money, if you have some knowledge of collectibles, you could have a come up. You could find something that's worth money that somebody else isn't valuing and actually make money of it. So I noticed like a lot of now, I mean, the hobby is obviously infiltrated and taken over by people with a lot of money, and it inflates a lot of prices. But that kind of helps the poor people who are in it and can get things for cheap. And then there's somebody willing to pay that crazy, insane dollar amount now.
I wish I thought like that back then. I would have bought a lot of copies of certain books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I really did buy a lot of copies of those books. Unfortunately.
It was a couple years ago. My friend called me up. He's like, "Bruh, I get this container full of comics." I was like, "Oh, really?" I was thinking first thing, gotta be 90s comics.
Yeah.
Sure enough, we go over there. Bro, this guy just boxes full of 90s comics. And it's like image stuff. And I'm like, bro, this is not. No, bro, don't buy this container. Like, you know what I mean? It was like trying to get them like.
Hey, at least it wasn't Valiant.
What did they overprint Valiant stuff too?
Yeah, but the other thing is there's barely any key issues in Valiant. Like the first appearance of Bloodshot, like Rise Zero and Eternal Warrior 4. That's about the only two valuable comics in Valiant. The rest is like complete doo-doo. Well, and maybe Harbinger #1 because there were certain low print runs, and especially if they had the early coupon. That's the first Valiant comic, so that kind of has some value, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Everything else is just
I would never read Valiant, but I remember, was it Death Mate?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the Wildstorm.
The one they all like. That was such a good issue because you get all of the greats just jamming on that one issue. You know what I mean? And I remember like uh, Greg Capullo's pages, and that's when he really like hit the top tier for me. Like you know what I mean? Like that's when his pages like really put him like raised. Because I remember him from X Force. He was good, but he wasn't what he is now. Like you know what I mean? But when he hit those pages in Deathmate Black, it was like holy crap, he's like reaching another level, which to me is so exciting when you see when artists just they're good, but then when they rise up, when they get to like one higher level, and you can see them like on the page. To me, that's so exciting. You know what I mean?
I think so. John Romita Jr. hit that with Man Without Fear when him and Frank did that 4-issue mini. That's where.
Oh, I got the trade. Yeah. I got the trade. Yeah. See,
Me,
I gotta get it back. Yeah, so I don't know the order.
That's
I
when
wasn't
I think
in real time come out. You know.
I think that's when he hit his stride as a man amongst children, right? In comics.
Oh, cool.
I sure hope this isn't one of the books, the style he's going to pencil in, because this stuff is hard.
Hey guys, I gotta go yell at my kid. Make sure he's sleeping.
All right, bro.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for talking story, man.
Yeah. No
Thanks
worries.
for joining us, bro. Appreciate it.
We'll see you at the con.
Yep.
Well, we'll probably do this again another time. So if you have
That's
time, jump in.
Oh yeah, I'll be jumping in.
All right, bro. Yeah, share my screen, dude. Can you put both of our screens on?
Oh, yeah. Okay, what you got?
Baby,
Yo.
how's that?
Yo.
Let's see.
There we go.
Yeah,
Oh,
what did I miss?
we're just talking about what were we talking about?
Influences and who are what artists inspire us, how we got
Okay.
into that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I shared that my big influences, at least early on, were Walter Simonson and John Romita Jr.
Mhm.
And later ones were obviously Jim, because Jim inspired everyone from our generation. And then I haven't gone on to anything since then, but there's been a lot of artists. Like lately, the artists that have really inspired me have been like Sean Gordon Murphy and
Right. Yeah. I just went back his Zorro book.
and that guy that I colored last week. What was his name?
Who's that?
Oh, the Emma Frost. Holy crap!
Oh yeah.
Forget his name. But yeah, I'm hoping that the work he wants me to do isn't this level of penciling, because there's a lot of work in here.
Yeah. I kind of do that. Like, I get too much things to do.
I think one of the things that I've decided with, especially like inking like this, is that you kind of gotta let the tool do what it wants to do, and not be so stuck on the perfection of it.
Right.
The randomness of the line is what you're looking for here, and allowing the line to do what it wants to do is kind of the ideal here.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it
this.
still doesn't mean it's easy.
If I'm working on like different ways, the results is different because the tools want to do something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then then I understand a little bit more, and then I understand why people make the choices that they make. It's
Yep,
like, oh,
absolutely.
the tools kind of made them make these choices. You know what I mean?
You
There's
know,
like,
and a long time ago, at a comic convention here in Oahu at the Oahu Shopping Center. No, not Oahu Shopping Center. At the Ilikai Hotel, I sat and I spoke to an artist by the name of was it Bat or Buzz? Anyway, he's one of those pinup artists that never really got into like making comics. He
hmm
pretty much stuck to doing pinups and stuff. And he gave me an interesting piece of advice. And you know, it's only been partway accurate, his advice, because the best artists can do anything with anything. But his advice was, if you want professional results, use professional tools.
yeah,
He's professional. What?
Use
tools.
professional.
Oh, okay.
And what DJ was talking about here about how as he's learning and drawing and trying to figure out how things are working, he realizes that the tools kind of dictate what they do and how they do it. That's kind of what he's getting at, right? If you want it to look like a professional piece, the problems that professionals solve are dictated kind of by their tools, right? So in order to get the same kind of effects, you have to use those same tools. It's not necessarily that way anymore. I mean, with the advent of digital stuff and the many different pens that are out there that imitate some of what we do,
hmm
the other professional tools, but there's some truth to the idea where using professional tools can garner you professional results as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
using a felt pen or a Sharpie for everything. Although I know
Yeah.
a lot of artists use Sharpies now, so
Yeah, I kind of like the smell. I can handle the smell. I can handle like I used to use Sharpies too, so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm real now using Sharpies. After a while, I was like, mine sucks. Hey, Lego, what's up, man? I'm gonna give you the link. What's up, Daniel? Sorry, I'm gonna let one out of friend inside. We was just talking comics. It's cool. How do I do this? But yeah, so like that's why one of the reasons I was real happy with Clip Studio is because I found one brush that I actually like. So before I couldn't ink digitally. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
just couldn't, you know what I mean? But then when I found that brush, I was like, oh, here we go. And then that's when I started, posting stuff again. And I think that's what got me noticed by you, Kanila. Daniel,
No.
I sent you the link. You could like hang out with us, talk about drawing comics and stuff. Talk about drawing. But yeah, so one thing I never get yet is inking with a brush. And it's not that I don't get it. I get it. But once that brush goes bad, oh man. I cannot.
Well,
I cannot.
so the most important thing I learned about inking with a brush is that you have to wash it out. Right? You can't just ink straight for 2 hours.
See, when I wash them out, I lose the tip and I lose the snap. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to hold on to the snap. Basically, you know what I mean?
Then you're washing too hard, and you're busting your ferrule. You know what the ferrule is?
What's the
ferrule?
ferrule?
The ferrule is the metal band that holds the brush together. Okay. If you get ink in the ferrule, it causes it's like this, right? So here's the brush, right? The ferrule is that metal band that goes around like this. If you get ink in here where the bristles are, it causes the bristles to do this.
Oh.
So what you can't when you are dipping your ink, you're brushing the ink, you cannot go past the ferrule. You have to only get ink onto the tip.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
Most young artists will stick the whole brush in, get the ink all halfway up that metal part, and
Right.
they'll start painting, and then they'll ruin the brush. The
Yeah,
trick is to, if this is your brush here, you put it, you fill it with ink up to about here, and that's it. You don't push your brush into the ink, the whole brush, just the tip. You know, just use the tip.
So, it.
Sorry, bad joke. So, and then once you start running out of ink, you dip it back into that thing, and then you got to roll it. Hold on, let me show you something.
Okay, I see Daniel, but I don't know. Ah, stupid thing. Ugh. I don't know why it won't let me scroll down.
So, do you see this? Hold on, let me turn off fuzz.
There's okay, Daniel, I see you. I'm trying to get your. I don't know why it won't let me scroll down. Hold on.
Okay. You see this? You see this?
Yeah.
Okay. This is from when, after I dip my brush in the ink, I'm pulling the brush across and spinning it to make a razor tip, and then I brush. I do this like I fill up entire papers with this stuff. And
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna.
So, brush inking requires tool maintenance that is difficult to learn.
Daniel, what's up, man?
Hello. Guys are doing some good work tonight. I'm watching a little bit.
Yeah, we're just talking stories. What's up, everybody? It's my friend Daniel.
Yeah.
Kanila and Amy. We had a leak on earlier.
I think I'm friends with Lee J on I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. Fucking it up probably. I'm sorry. Lee J. I'm friends with her, I think, on Facebook.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, we're talking about inking right now. And why?
Yeah, I was looking at the stuff he was inking. Is that your pencils that you're inking?
Oh no, this is pencils by Dennis Cowan.
Wow. Yeah, I was like, whatever that is, that's amazing.
This is from Hardware #2 from the 90s.
Oh, that's classic. Yeah.
And I found it online, and I've done some ink samples for Dennis, and at some point in the near future,
cool.
we're probably going to be doing some work together, but I don't know what or when.
Apologize.
Okay.
I got a little bit of sickness because my immune system's all weak right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got cancer.
Yeah. I got
the itis.
The what?
You have the itis.
The itis. Yeah. I got stage 4 cancer. So.
That could be considered the itis. I'm sure.
Yeah. I went through chemo already, and now I'm going through radiation, and radiation's like, I don't feel anything, but I think my immune system has dropped a little bit, so I caught a cold.
Well, good luck to you. I lost a daughter to cancer, so.
Oh yeah, I lost a cousin of mine over on the Big Island. He got some sort of rare, like bubble cancer, I guess, that you only get in Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah,
so
it's
my
like
daughter had rhabdomyosarcoma, which is a joint cancer.
Oh, okay.
The problem for her is that it started at her ankle, and because it was in the left foot, it went from her foot up to her heart, and then went.
Yeah. That's terrible. Yeah, I have rectal, liver, and I have possibly something on my lung, but it's real small.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
That sounds worse than my kidney failure.
That's not good either.
No. Yeah, I do dialysis three times a week, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I ran.
You got to keep moving on.
I ran dialysis for my dad from home for like 10 years.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I
know they're hopeful on my end that I'll be all right because the liver thing that they weren't sure about because they thought I only had it in the rectum area, because it was pretty big. But I guess they did all these scans after I went through chemo, and it looks like it's like just in there. It hadn't reached out to any lymph nodes or anything, so they felt that they can handle that, and then it shrunk a little bit. But the liver thing turned out to be something. It was like an inch in size before, and now it's a quarter of an inch. So it shrunk like 3 sizes smaller.
Damn.
So they're doing some radiation on that, and they think the radiation they're doing is just gonna completely get rid of the liver one.
Yeah.
So
Here's hoping.
yeah, and then the other one they're gonna zap that one, and that's gonna be more. It's gonna be longer and more involved, and I guess depending on how that turns out, they may have to go in surgically and remove some of it, but we'll see. But yeah, I was trying to draw tonight, and like I drew some stuff. It was like all right, but then like this pencil I have, I don't know if it's because it's old or what, but like all the lead was like breaking, and I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
I usually don't have that problem because I usually have good pencils, but like all my good art supplies are down at my dad's place because I live with my wife at her parents' house now because they're doctors and it's closer to the hospital that I'm treated at here.
Sure. And where's
So,
here?
I live in California. I used to my dad lives down kind of near Disneyland in this town called Fullerton. It's like right next to Anaheim.
I know that.
And then right now I'm in Azusa, which is up north, a little further from there, about a half hour away.
My ex-sister-in-law lives up in the hills above California, so
Oh, okay.
I know that pretty well.
Yeah, I grew up there. That's where I'm from. My dad was a farmer there, and so our whole family were farmers there for years.
Farmers,
Tell
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about 16.
My sister-in-law's husband is a doctor, so
Okay. Well, that explains how they live up in those hills.
yeah.
Because that's Tommy Lasorda lived up in those hills. The Dodgers coach.
Yeah. As an old Dodgers fan, back from early and late 80s, Ron say hey. I know who Tommy Lasorda is.
Yeah. So, and Rob Liefeld lived up at the kind of the edge of those hills. It was like halfway up the hill.
Nice.
Jim Valentino lived close by.
Yeah. Yeah. Image headquarters was just around the corner from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do some work for Jim Valentino in the day, and we had a lot of conversations. And he had a lot of very nice things to say about Rob, and that Rob was misunderstood, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for those Rob fans out there, but the one time I met him, he was a dick to me. So,
oh, really?
That's it for him.
Yeah, he can be off, and sometimes he's really cool, but yeah, I've ran into him where he's been kind of just whatever. But I've known him for like a pretty long time because he used to go to the same comic shop that I shopped at.
Oh, yeah.
And he got me into like, before I met Rob, I was really only collecting G.I. Joe and Robotech comics.
Oh yeah.
And I had, and my very first comic was a Ernie Chan and John Buscema Conan book.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was just talking about that. Yeah.
Hey, we were just talking about Ern Chan.
Ern Chan and John Buscema,
awesome. Yeah, I wish there was more art books and stuff with those guys around, but it's mainly just the comics.
Are the definition of Conan for me. Other people say, what's his name?
Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always Ernie and Steve.
I like later Barry Windsor Smith, but the Conan era Barry Windsor Smith I wasn't really into. But Ernie Chan and John Buscema together were just freaking magic, man. Like the I don't know, like there was something about the way they made those lines look kind of like magical, like fantasy, like darkness to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You
It's real
you
cool.
read the new Conan stuff is kind of like that. It's kind of like throwing back to that. If you,
Yeah, I
yeah,
got the first issue. I don't think I got any more of them because I haven't been in the comic shop that much lately, and it was
right.
pretty good. The one I saw,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
new
I'm
one,
getting
right?
it. I still
yeah.
have
The
a
new
hard time
one. Yeah,
finding it.
I don't know who the
Yeah,
artist is, but kind of remind me
I don't
of
know
that.
either.
Is that
Yeah.
Carrie North doing it now, or is
No,
someone
no, no.
else?
Carrie, I don't
I
think
like.
Carrie Nord's doing it now. Carrie Nord did it when it was with Dark Horse, and his stuff was pretty good. I like that run as
I
well.
like his stuff too. Yeah, his stuff was good.
The other book that looks great is which is kind of similar in tone because uh, is the Fire and Ice book that they've been doing.
Oh, I never picked that up.
Yeah, I'd almost wait for the trade because they're gonna do a trade of it, so
Right, right.
you'll get it all in like one bulk thing. Like I got the first issue, but I'll probably wait and just get the trade of the rest of it because it comes in and sells out real quick.
Uh,
Like I had to order a copy online like second like from like some store because my shop completely sold out of them.
So the one book, like kind of in that vein, that I wish I had gotten that I didn't, and I probably should still find it at a decent price, is back to my old favorite artist again, Walt Simonson's run of Ragnarok. I would
mm,
have loved to get it from
I don't know
issue
if I
one.
saw
I
that
just
one.
didn't. Really? Oh, you gotta go look at it. It's like
Hmm.
it's like heavy metal Thor comics. It's pretty dope.
Okay. Hmm. I'll have to look around for that. And another one that I saw recently that was kind of fun was this book called Barbaric.
oh yeah, was that
Yeah, it's uh well, it's funny. I had to change an element in my book because they kind of like took the idea that I had, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to adjust this. Anytime I see something similar to something I'm doing, I make a quick right turn and go somewhere else. But
yeah, yeah. After a while, you
it's
can make your right turns all the time, though.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
And then the
So
answer is, did
the
you do
premise,
better than them? So
yeah. Well, that's true. I don't know if I would say like what I'm doing is as good as what they were doing,
Right.
but it wasn't a major element of my book either. It was just kind of like a
Oh,
detail.
you could
And
change it.
yeah. So the premise of the book was there was a guy who was like a barbarian guy who had an axe that um that had magic powers, and when he killed people or killed things with it, it would become more powerful because it would feed off the blood of its victims. And so the
Oh,
axe kind of has like a skull face on it. And then he has like a sidekick, this woman who's got a bunch of tattoos of weapons, and she can pull the tattoos off her body and make her own weapons off these
mm,
tattoos. And
oh, that's
yeah, it's a pretty cool book. I don't know if they're still doing it because they did one volume and then they like took a break and then they did like an interim. It was either like a one book or two books, and then they came back for a second series. And then, like I said, like I got a couple issues of it, but then like I missed some of the other ones, so I don't know if they're still doing it or not.
mm,
It may have gotten damaged because its initial run was before the whole pencils down thing when COVID
oh, yeah,
happened.
yeah.
And so like they took that time off during there, and they had some fill-in person draw like a one-off book to kind of, I guess, put out there in the meantime for the artist to like get the next series rolling.
Mm,
And I don't know. I don't know if the audience came back for it or whatever.
oh,
But it was really
so
well drawn. Like I like the style of the regular artist.
so what we've been doing today is we've been talking about influences and what got you to into
Mm.
comics in the first place. Like, what was the first big book that got you into comics? That kind of
That
stuff.
was that Conan book, man. I
Yeah.
think it was 118.
What about you,
That's
Amy? What was the first comic book that got you going?
Um, I think it would have to be. I forget because I remember the first comic book that I got. This was when I was like around preschool or something. My dad bought like this Batman issue. I don't know what issue it was or whatever. So I barely remember. And for some odd reason I didn't like it. Whatever. You know like how when you're exposed to like the Saturday morning cartoons like that, you're thinking, expecting that kind of like that fun, bright stuff, whatever. And then
It's too dark.
this one was dark, yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
really, to be honest with you, I don't really remember because I was that young. And then when I came into the fourth grade, one of my classmates brought in like X-Men and the Avengers. And at that time too, our library just got, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. So actually, that's kind of like what really kicked in that whole, oh, okay. My classmate basically was just letting us borrow. And, so like we're all like taking, turns, like just looking at the comic and so forth. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then, of course, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, always, like that's the most popular book in the library. We started borrowing it and I borrowed it too. So, in a way, that basically was my first intro to really, I would say, getting into like reading comic books and so forth. And you just, this is way before the internet, right? So you're just like, okay, when you have allowance or whatever, if you're lucky enough to stop into a shop, like, whether it's going to a 7-Eleven or any place that had the spinner rack, you just look at the titles, like, oh yeah, this looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Thing.
I
forgot who I was telling it just recently. I would say like around intermediate to early high school. We used to have like a grocery store in Kalihi, and my parents, what sometimes they would do is that they would drop me off at the library, at like either Lilia Library or the state library. And I remember one time my dad and I, we had to go down to downtown, etc. And just happened there used to be like a shop that sold like magazine and comics. I remember that. So when I was starting to getting into comics, I used to, if I felt like I had enough money, I would tell my parents like, hey, can you drop me off at the state library on Saturday? And I would stay there for the whole day, doing my homework. But I also, was kind of like this adventurous type where I would sneak out of the library, go into downtown and, try to find my way to that shop, which is what I did. So I ended up pretty much doing that a lot from intermediate all the way up until like high school, just sneak out of the library for like part of the day. That's how I got to Jellies and etc.
Yeah. Jellies is the bomb.
Yeah.
I used to steal money from my savings account to buy comics.
You stole money from yourself?
Yeah. I wasn't supposed to use it, but I used it anyway.
I used to save my lunch money. But comics were like you used to be able to get like quarter comics.
Hold on. Nerds.
Yeah.
All right. So who was the first, I don't know, comic book creator that you met?
Ooh. Well, mine's is easy.
Okay.
Mine's a Steve Lealoha. Because that's my wife's uncle.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, in fact, I was I was so like, I don't know, isolated, just away from the whole scene for like my whole life, right?
Mm.
And then I was trying to do the whole comic thing, right? And then my wife, her family had this big party, and then I find these kids, they come with this Spider-Man drawing, and it's like it's like professional quality. Like I was
That's
like
crazy.
So I was like, "What? Look, Uncle, look, I got Spider-Man." So I look, wow, who gave you this? And it was like, Uncle Steve. So I was like, Uncle Steve. So I go over there and I meet him and I introduce myself. I tell everything, I'm trying to get into the scene, da da da. So that was it. And then he was like, "Oh, I come into the Big Island one day. We can meet up at Starbucks." So we ended up meeting at Starbucks, and then it was like perfect timing. It was like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So
Oh, yeah.
you know, he gave me some pretty awesome like tips, advice. You know what I mean? Like just help for. And you look over my portfolio, just say, okay, work on this, work on that, do this, 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 and this, and then you know, that was right before the wave kind of hit in like 2014, I think it was, where in Hawaii the scene just kind of exploded one time, you know. So this is like
Mm.
2000, like say 10 or 11 or around there, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
with him and yeah, so when
So
you guys see me online calling him Uncle Steve, that's literally like that's my Uncle Steve because that's my wife's
Mm.
uncle.
So I mean, were you familiar
Right on.
with Steve Leialoha's stuff before you knew that that was your wife's uncle, or?
Yeah. Because I knew he was the only Hawaiian name in comics. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I remember his well, he was mostly inking, right? So I
Right.
remember, you know, and so when I found out that was him, I was like, oh my god, this gotta mean something, right? You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, so that was the beginning of all of that, and that's, you know, um yeah, so that was fun, and I still, I mean, he every time I see him, he's like, oh yeah, let's do a piece together, and then I gave him so much stuff for ink, and he just never did do them. You know what I mean? So he's like, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, we're
So
gonna
you're
do
gonna have to
them.
catch him at con and have him do it at the con.
Hmm.
I don't know. Well, he gonna come to Maui, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Catch him at the con and have him do it at the con.
yeah. But if he's, you know how I am. You know what I mean? It's like hurting
I know how
someone.
I am, and the answer is
You know what I
yes.
mean?
You're
So
too busy. You're not gonna do it because you're a nice guy, just like me, and you're gonna say, "Oh, and just how it is."
you know how it is. Especially as an
Mm.
artist, it's like, yeah, I'll do it when I want to do it, if I want to do it. So it's probably you're not gonna do them,
Right? It's
but
like,
whatever.
how much money is this gonna make me? Nothing.
I don't even think it's that.
That's what's
I
gonna
think he really, because he didn't pick out the piece that he wanted for ink.
happen.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So he was like, "Oh,
Maybe they'll
I'll
surprise
pick
you and
it."
it'll be ink and
But then,
waiting for you.
if he's anything like me, it's like he stuck them in his bag, and then he just never did unpack that bag.
Hmm.
I don't know, though. You know what I mean? I could be
I
wrong.
don't resemble that at all.
Anyways, yeah. So that was the first person I met. First comic book pro I met.
Mhm.
My first comic pro that met in person on a one-on-one basis was Eric Larson.
Oh,
Wow.
that's cool.
Came to Hawaii for a convention at the Olawana Hotel.
Mhm.
No, not the Olawana, the Ilikai Hotel.
Ilikai.
Yes.
Hmm.
When he sat around doing nothing for about 4 hours because nobody was there for him. No, it's like
Wow.
nobody knew he was there. And
Was this the time when Jim Lee came down like that?
no, it was before Jim's visit.
Okay.
So it was when Jim came. It was the entire Wildstorm crew. It was Jim, Mike
Valentino.
Heisler, Scott Williams. It was Wills was here. You know, that was the Wildstorm thing right when Pogs had hit.
Right.
But no, the Eric Larson thing was just Eric,
Okay.
and he was at a dinner put on by the convention person who was putting on the convention, and I asked him to look over some stuff that I was doing, and he did, and he killed it and destroyed it because it was horrible. And then I asked him to say, so how would you have done it differently? And then he proceeded to show me, and I was humbled because he was right. My thing looked like crap compared to his, and that's just looking at the little thumbnail layouts, you know. But I learned a lot from Eric just with that one time sitting around, just being around him, and how to approach storytelling, like,
Mhm.
and how important storytelling is to comics.
Yeah.
And it's not just a bunch of pinups stuck together, which is a hard thing for some artists to figure out.
Right.
That's going to be a while before you get past that stage. Well, not everybody, but some. What about you, Dan?
Uh, Rob. Rob was probably the first person I ever met. It was either him or it was Brian Polito, but I'm pretty sure it was Rob. Because I don't think.
I colored a Polito book. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I met Polito at a convention, but I can't remember if I went to the convention before I met Rob at the store. It was like in '89 because I know Batman had just come out,
The movie.
or it was coming out. I don't
Batman
remember
came
what.
out exactly in 1989 because I
Yeah.
was there opening night. That was senior night.
Yeah, I can't remember if this was like before the movie came out or after though. Like I just remember there was a guy dressed as Batman at the convention, and there's a photo of me as a really fat kid wearing a Coca-Cola shirt, standing with this guy in a Batman suit. So, but yeah, like I met Brian Polito, I think, when I was pretty young. He even says now, he's like, "You were just a little kid." So,
That's cool.
yeah.
I never meet anybody when I was young. I was isolated.
Yeah. Well, that was like when I first started going to little local conventions, and like that show I met Brian. It was one of the very first conventions that Chris Pichello ever did.
Oh, we're talking about him.
Yeah, and I got a sketch from him at that show.
Cool.
Yeah. And I think Mark Texeria was there.
Oh yeah,
Mark's
cool.
character.
And
I hung out with him, yeah, Amy, a couple times.
Yeah, that guy's a wild person.
Yeah, I know.
he strikes me as like a southern version of Simon Bisley.
I don't know Simon.
Southern? I wouldn't know about Southern. If you were talking about L.A., then yeah.
Yeah, but he looks like a cowboy with that hat and stuff, and the boots and everything.
That's just the.
That's what I was getting at. Like Simon looks like a biker.
Simon
Like
is a wild person, from what I've heard stories from.
Yeah, he is. I've drank with Simon. He's a wild man.
I heard he can get really, really drunk.
Yeah. Well, it also takes a while too, because he can put back quite a few before he gets hammered.
Mm-hmm.
We may know a few people that got chemically enhanced with Mr.
Yeah.
So my first comic pro that I met was Bill Sienkiewicz, and at that time when I met him, this is a real funny story. So this is, I would say, somewhere either 85, 86. This is when Electro Assassin, that miniseries came out from Frank Miller.
One of my favorite
and it was so funny because this is just around the time I was starting to kind of associate names like Frank Miller, etc. And so Bill Sienkiewicz was making an appearance at Jellies when it used to be at 404 Peacock. So one day,
recommended by the Sandman. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what happened was one day I was with my parents. We had a day where we were, just going around, etc. And they asked me, where do you want to go? And I said, I want to go to Jellies. And my parents was like, what? What is that? It's like, I had to explain to them, it's like this comic book shop. So I said, okay. So they brought me there.
Did you tell them at that point that you were sneaking out of the library to go there?
No, I didn't. they still didn't know about me sneaking out of the library. Actually, to tell you the truth, the sneaking out of the library came afterwards. This was pre-sneaking out of the library. But, what happened was it was a day that we basically got to hang out, and so I went there, and just so happened when I turned around, there was like this sign saying that, Bill Sienkiewicz was making an appearance at Jellies. And
wow.
I had no idea who Bill Sienkiewicz was. And all what I just saw was like, oh my gosh, there's a comic book artist. That is so awesome. So I went to my dad and I said, Dad, can we stay longer? There's going to be like a comic book artist. Can we stay longer? And my dad goes, okay, wait, let me go talk, to your mom. Of course, my mom was like, frustrated, typical. typical, fresh off the boat mom, doesn't understand the whole thing like that. So my dad just, talked with my mom and says, okay, so we waited until Bill Sienkiewicz came. So my dad bought me Electro Acid. Now, you gotta realize that I had no idea what the heck this comic book was,
Hmm.
etc. All what was going in my mind was there's a comic book artist that's making an appearance. And at that age, I think it was like about 12 or 13 years old, I was like, that's all I could think of. I'm gonna be a comic book artist. That's it. That's it. That's all was going through my mind. And of course, like majority of everybody, like you don't know how to pronounce Sienkiewicz's name at that time, so
Yeah.
all of us would be like, "Wow, how do you pronounce his name?" So I remember every person that came, like trying to Bill would basically say his name, and even when I came to him, like he even helped me sing his name, etc. But that was the first comic pro artist that I met, and it was funny because once I got the comic book and when I came home and I opened it, then my mind got blown away because that now totally changed the way I looked at comic books.
Yeah.
So Bill Sienkiewicz, in a way, kind of like broke the mold for me because now it's like, all this time I looked at comics as, the typical panels, etc. Here comes Bill Sienkiewicz with the whole fine art stuff, and it's like, holy crap. And you
Yeah.
can do comics this way. So yeah. And
What I dug about Bill is that he would like freaking put material on the page, like actual cloth, because he liked
yeah.
the pattern, which I thought was really cool.
Mhm.
Mm.
I always liked the work he did on the Dune adaptation
I
in like the
never saw
80s. You should look it up. That man, I love that stuff. I wish if it wasn't for like rights issues and stuff, I guess they said that it would be difficult to like put it out now as like a artist edition. But
Mhm.
that. Hmm.
I've seen some of the black and whites of the pages and like it's just so good.
Well, I suppose I can ask Denbier if that's something he could make. So
That would be nice.
when
But I
when
think
I worked at Wildstorm, I worked with Scott all the time. So.
hmm, that would be awesome because that would man, I'd totally buy that book. But yeah, I
One
met
of the
him
things
one time.
I like working on Dennis's work stuff is the fact that no one really knows what's going on, so you kind of fake everything,
All right.
and no one will tell the difference.
Is there any way I can make somebody else the host? Cause I gotta go sleep.
Yeah, and I should probably head to sleep here too. We've been going for a couple hours now.
Yeah. I gotta wake up early in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have to because I'm taking the day off tomorrow, but I am tired as well. And I
I gotta
actually
read
traveled
this stuff.
longer than this than I thought I would.
Oh.
Kanila, you gonna be at that thing tomorrow at downtown for that comic
Not
jam?
tomorrow. I have an event that I have to be at, but I'm going to be sitting at the pop up on Saturday from about 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock.
Oh, this Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be
Yeah,
there
I'm
on
not. I'm
Saturday.
not sure if I'm gonna make it because I'm attending that Waikiki film thing in at Dome Cannery. That's like 8:42, and you got the Q&A thing with the director and so forth.
Yeah,
So
I have no idea. I've never even heard of that.
Mm.
it's
But
Waikiki was this film that came out. It was an independent film, directed by Christopher Kahunahana, and it was supposed to come out 2020 at hit, but of course the pandemic, so it came out in 2021, and it's now hitting on the national theater levels. It just made its debut at New York, and this weekend is the Hawaii. So it's now finally making a national film appearance.
Hmm.
So I saw it during HIF, but I didn't really get the chance to watch the whole thing. So I figure like, okay.
I've never been to HIF. I think something I probably think I would enjoy going to at some point.
I haven't been to HIF for quite a while too. It's because of my schedule. etc.
Yeah.
But no, this one is not a HIF thing. But the last time I went to HIF was when Waikiki came out, and that was it. And so it was like a Kickstarter, like backup for this film, just to fund the film, and I was also one of the backers as well. It's a really good film to see, so if you get a chance, check it out.
Sure. Deej, thanks for hosting.
All right.
Time.
Sorry, I gotta go get the snack. If not, I'm gonna fall
And
asleep.
All right,
Okay.
draw. I guess,
Okay.
folks.
Draw, everybody.
all right. Catch you guys later.
Okay.
There.